Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at theDove.us. Welcome back. Well, today we're going to do something we haven't done in a while, and that's a little open line. But to start the conversation, we got Bob Just with us. And coming up a little bit later on, we want to hear from you. Maybe you want to join the conversation. If you do, the phone number is 541-776-5368. That's the local number, 541-776-5368. And if you're outside the immediate Medford area, you're listening up and down the coastline, watching on Roku or on Charter or Ashland HomeNet, wherever you may be watching the television side of things, give us a buzz, toll free, 1-800-373-5368. And coming up a little bit, we're going to open up the phone lines, and we want to hear from you. What do you think about what's going on with the Medford School District and the teacher strike? Maybe you have a solution to it, and maybe you have a comment about it. And we understand it can be a little heated and controversial. Not asking for you to do that. Just give us your thoughts, all right? That all coming up in just a few moments. But right now, a guy who's heated and controversial by just getting out of bed and putting his feet on the floor. Mr. Bob Just.
Good morning, Perry. Good morning, team.
How you doing, man?
How are you doing?
Good. Well, a lot going on. Hey, I got a simple question for you, and I mean this with respect. It's easy to be critical, and I don't want to do that. But can you tell me one thing that's come out of this administration that's been true?
Oh, you really know how to hurt a guy.
I mean, think about it.
Honestly,
everything that we've gotten out of this administration hasn't been true.
You know, it's funny. I remember how we used to say, you know, when we were doing the show, their lips are moving. I was joking partly, but now, honestly, I guess the expression is liars lie. And once you have this lack of trust that we have now, people roll their eyes at anything that's going on. You know, the Fox News is used the phrase padding the numbers when it comes to the White House, saying they've got 3.3 million enrollees when really 10 to 25%, Perry, have not paid, and money is the issue. Remember, if they don't meet their nut, the insurance companies have to raise premiums, or here's the big or, bill the rest of us. You know, ask for a bailout from the American taxpayer, and that's where we're headed right now.
All right. Speaking of which, Boehner has collapsed on raising the debt ceiling. It was done very quickly, and a lot of Republicans signed on. A lot didn't. I'm glad to find out that our own Republican Congressman Greg Walden said no to that.
Good.
But the only thing I can say is that why in the world did Boehner go on this one?
The only answer actually that I've heard to that is simply that it's strategic. You know, I mean, unfortunately, we're $17 trillion in debt and counting, and so I mean, I'm not sure how much strategic is good, but the point is that right now the Democrats are on the ropes with all the lying and obfuscation, confusing the issue, and Obamacare, particularly Obamacare. The numbers on Obamacare you probably saw on Drudge, Perry, it's Fox News poll. They're stunning. I mean, the people are just totally questioning Obamacare.
I heard that too. That the main reason that Speaker Boehner went ahead and did the debt ceiling, number one, they didn't want the Republicans to get tagged with shutting the government down again. And two, they wanted to keep the focus on Obamacare and maybe Benghazi and IRS. I mean, that's a tactical thing for the midterm election. Yeah,
I think the IRS, although for me, Benghazi is a personal passion, as I know it is for you, it's such an outrage, there are hardly words for it. But the IRS is more vivid. In other words, people can get it and get it quickly. And when you have a hearing that goes on, as we were talking about the other day, when you have a hearing that goes on, and a Tea Party person, True the Vote lady, she was saying that she was fine until she applied for a nonprofit for True the Vote, and then got investigated 15 times by 4 different agencies. Yeah. And in that hearing, you have a Democrat say, "That's no proof." I mean, we are living in la-la land with the Democratic Party now. So I think you're right. I think the IRS real issue, the corruption, really needs to be on the radar.
All right, Bob, look, let's get big picture for a moment here. It appears to me, granted, we're going into a midterm election. Taking control of the U.S. Senate is critical. Retaining the House is critical. And adding to those numbers, there's no question about it, election is a big part of solving the problem. But now we are clearly in a constitutional crisis.
We are.
And we are clearly into a total lawlessness administration. I think Charles Krauthammer is correct. We're in a banana republic, and it's getting worse by the day. And there doesn't seem to be any responsibility by the other three branches of government to push back. We don't see anything coming out of the judiciary, probably because they won't, because they wait till the law gets there to see whether or not it's legal or not.
Right.
But we don't see any pushback out of the House and the Senate. We are in a constitutional crisis in America with an administration that, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, is anti-American and anti-God. What do we do?
Well, I agree with you on what you just said. And for people who haven't been paying attention, that's a Republican leader and a little old me Democrat who both agree on what you just said. It's hard to describe what we're up against. The only thing I would say is the time to push back is in December 2014, or more specifically, actually, more accurately, January, February 2015, because we have to win in the Senate. Now is the time for work. Now is the time for donating. If you don't think you can affect your local election, find some election in another state where you can help a Tea Party candidate or a conservative candidate.
Yeah, right.
And so, but do something. We literally are in a situation, and Glenn Beck has said this, and others. We're in a situation where our grandchildren may be saying, "Grandpa, what did you do when the country, that our freedom was on the line in the early 21st century?"
Another part of this argument, Bob, is this. I want to say this carefully. I was thinking about it last night, how I would share this. And I'm not saying this is a thus saith the Lord, but a biblical thought came to me yesterday. Are you sitting down?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know the story of Jonah?
You sure?
All right. So Jonah gets on the boat, and he's trying to escape, right?
Right.
What happens?
They hit a storm, and he realizes he's the guilty one.
All right, so the storm comes up, and it's a storm that's going to take everybody out.
Right.
Does that sound like what we're in?
We got
49 states. Well, I mean, the weather is one thing. Got 49 states with snow in it. We're getting deluged with rain. So you can look at the weather pattern. That's one. But if you look at the storms in America, from Obamacare to the IRS scandal to the Benghazi scandal, the economy's in the tank, unemployment's through the roof, and the list goes on and on and on. We're in a storm. Why aren't we throwing this guy overboard? Why aren't we impeaching him?
Oh boy! Well, I hate to say the answer is simple, but it's not going to. A lot of people are not going to like it. It's just because he's the first African American president, and the public doesn't generally like impeachment, and he's an historic figure. Which, Perry, the sad thing, and I've said this on the Hannity show on Fox News, on the TV, Fox News channel, that what a shame, what a tragedy that the first African American president would be Barack Obama, a person who, I agree with you, is very uncomfortable with what America is, what real under God America. And it's a tragedy. But that's the reason I don't think you'll see an impeachment. What I'm hoping people will do is impeach the Democratic Party. Because here's the big question. The Democratic Party is supporting this guy.
Boy,
what does that say about the whole party? They are shutting down their conscience and voting yes, 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 no problem here, no trouble here. Hey, investigate this lady 15 times by 4 different agencies. I don't see a problem. I don't see any proof. That's the modern Democratic Party. And Democrats listening now need to do everything not to vote Democrat and to tell their Democratic friends not to vote Democrat until we have a new leadership in the party.
All right. Do you
agree with that? I mean,
look. Look
about Obama. I mean, do you think there's no real likelihood he'd be impeached? Don't you think?
I don't know. I think there is a turn in the country going on, and part of the turn is the big picture is that people believe that America is in trouble.
Right.
America in the whole is in trouble. This God-given gift to us of self-government, liberty, and freedom is in trouble. And even those who may support Obama, deep down in their gut, they have this gnawing feeling that something is wrong.
Really wrong.
And so on the back of the church, it's a spiritual crisis. And we are in a
Truly.
spiritual battle. I mean, there's no question about it. This is a spiritual battle, and it's played out in the political arena. But there's so many ways to blame and point fingers. I don't want to get involved in that. But are we moved toward the core of our spirit to fall on our faces before God and say, oh, God, forgive us. This is happening under our watch. We are the generation that will give account for this. We don't seem to be convicted to our soul and our spirit to say, God, forgive us for letting this happen. We don't seem to be engaged to do anything about it. We are struggling to get Christians to sign a petition to stop their tax dollars from killing babies. The list goes on and on and on. It seems like to me we don't get it deep in our spirit that we are accountable for this, and we are going to give an account for this.
You know, and it's true. God raised up, and you and I agree on this, I know. God raised up a generation of prophetic pastors in the 70s and 80s and 90s, you know, D. James Kennedy and many others.
Right,
many others. And some of them are still with us, thank God. Dr.
Dobson.
Dobson, not a pastor, but is of that generation. And they've been warning us, not for 5 years, not for 10 years. They've been warning us for 30 to 40 years. They've been warning us. And of course, you know what a big influence Dr. Kennedy was on me.
Right.
He did it many times over and over. We're blessed to have that generation of prophetic pastors, and now's our time to wake up. I tell you, Perry, we had a Concerned Fathers Against Crime meeting last night, and it was packed on Neighbor to Neighbor Project. And in other words, people are saying we're in a very dangerous mode. It's not a political gathering last night. It's a spiritual gathering, the need for fathership. But people are hungering for action of a righteous, Christ-centered kind.
Well, let us not forget the old saying, the power of the people is more powerful than the people in power.
Wow, that's true. You know, and this is the moment. This really is the moment.
Yeah.
And one other thing, if I can just speak spiritually, the Democratic Party has given over to the lie. And I do mean the party. I mean, not the rank-and-file Democrat. But what's happening is the leadership, as I said before, has given over its conscience. And consequently, they are putty in the hands of evil. And we're in a very dangerous mode. The Democratic Party has to turn away from the path of destruction that they've been going down for 40 years. Did you hear the president of Planned Parenthood?
Yes.
Was saying that Happy Valentine's, make abortion safe and legal. I mean, we've given up the ghost here. And if the Democratic Party has to wake up to the nature of perversion, and I mean in the largest sense, that they've come under, they're enthralled to.
Well, keep up the fight, buddy. Hang in there. Anxious to hear about how your meetings are going, getting concerned families fired up again and get going. Because I think in the long run, Bob, God has given you a vision, and He has given you now years of experience that what you're doing there in Grants Pass works.
Thank you, Perry.
And if other communities can get a hold of what God's given you to do, we can take control of a lot of things, and in particular, keeping our community safe. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you very much, Perry.
See you later. All right, we'll be right back. Open line. Hey, you got any thoughts about the school strike, one way or the other? And do you have any solutions? We'd like to hear from you. 541-776-5368 or online, toll free, 1-800-373-5368. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and on this Friday, this Valentine's Day, we're going to do a little open line, and maybe you have some thoughts or comments on some of the things that Bob and I discussed. We'd love to hear from you. Maybe you got some other things you'd like to mix in. Friday, it's your show, and in particular, we'd like to hear about your thoughts about what's going on with this. Really, it's a sad situation to see the Medford School District and the Teachers Union at odds. I don't care what side of the argument you're on. I do hope that you are praying for a peaceable resolve. This is very stressful on a community, very stressful on kids, and it can become very personal. And there's just a lot going on here. But maybe you got an idea. Maybe you have a thought. I don't know. I'd love to hear from you. I just ask that you be polite about it. And if you want to join us, 541-776-5368 is the local number. 541-776-5368, and then toll free. That's 1-800-373-5368, giving you a chance to kind of join the conversation and let us know what you're thinking. Well, Randy, you've been holding on for a long time. What's your thoughts?
Good morning. How are you today, Perry? You know, it's always fantastic to hear from Bob Jess. I love listening to that guy.
Good.
You know, we need more Christian men like him. But I've got one comment about the strike, and it fits this one here. I think there's probably an answer in there too, and that is it's a fantastic advertisement for Cascade Christian schools and other private and charter schools and homeschooling. That's all I've got to say about that.
All right. Well, there you go. Thank you, Randy.
You bet. Have a wonderful.
You too, bud. Stay dry. You know, I have to tell you this from what I understand. I just been told through the grapevine that apparently those phones are ringing. Those phones are ringing. Anyway, 776-5368. 776-5368 is the local number, or toll free 1-800-373-5368. All right. Hi, Lucas. Thanks for waiting. What's on your mind about President Obama?
Well, I agree with you. He needs to be impeached. But the problem we have, it isn't just the whole Congress, the whole government is sold out. That's why nothing's going on. They're all sold out to this madness. I'm speechless.
Well, that's a broad statement, and I understand what you're saying. You know, there are some true patriots in there that are working hard to fight back, but what you're also commenting on is what's reflected in the polls, and that is Congress still has an approval rating of what, 9% or something like that. It's horrible, and
I gave up on them in the late 60s, early 70s. You know, they promise you all kinds of stuff, and you see when they get in office, they just lie through their teeth.
Well, let me ask you this: do you vote?
No.
Why?
No, I don't.
Why?
Did you ask why?
Yeah. Why don't you vote?
It's like the saying was, vote for the lesser of two evils. It means I have to vote for evil. Since way back when, since the late 60s, early 70s, there's nobody in there that inspires me to vote for. They're all a bunch of, I can't say categorically they all are, but the feeling I get is they're all sold out. They're all a bunch of liars.
Well, you got to look at our system, Lucas. Look at the big picture just for a moment, okay? We are, in spite of our problems, and we have a lot of them, and there's a lot of frustration and discouragement, we are still the best system on the face of the earth. We are a republic.
I've been wrestling with that since the late 60s and early 70s. I have to agree with you, Perry.
Okay, all right.
But that's not saying much for the world, is it?
Well, listen.
If we're the best, we talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the home of the land of the free and the brave, and the pledge of allegiance, with liberty and justice for all. I have never seen liberty and justice for all. Okay, it's a con. It's a lie. We're a lying country. Now, I'm not saying there aren't a few people. I think the reason that JFK got assassinated was because he wanted to get us out of Vietnam. And here's another big problem that we have today: the Federal Reserve. He wanted us to get us out of the Federal Reserve. You don't hear any journalists talk about what the Federal Reserve is and what a criminal action it is.
All right, but look, I would have to disagree with your fatalistic approach to being not doing anything, because unless you can come up with another system and an answer to the problem,
the other system, Yeshua or Jesus gave us the other system. And we can still pray. It says of Nebuchadnezzar, God. This is a mystery that I never been able to understand it. It says God setteth over them the basest of men, and I've seen that to be true. You look at the presidents from Nixon on.
Okay, I understand that, Lucas. I guess what I'm trying to ask you is this: have you given up on America?
No, I haven't given up on humanity. I've given up on American society, basically. Because look what same-sex marriage, you know.
Okay, I get it. I don't have to go down the list of things. I know what the problems are. I talk about them all day long.
All right, exactly. Okay.
I'm more concerned with the fact that that you don't see a need to try to correct the best system on earth.
Well, I do, and I think the best way we can do it is through prayer. I think that's the best way we can do it.
All right, but then Jesus said, "You're going to do the works that I do. I put you here to do what I want I'm going to do my work through you. I put you here to go do what I want you to do.
Yeah.
Praying is part of it, but involvement's the other part of it.
Well, all right. Let's look at it. When he walked the planet Earth. How did he get involved? He spoke. He preached. He shared with people, and then he can see what he did with his life. They expected him. They expected him to be a knight in shining armor on a white horse and to overthrow the Roman government. He didn't do that. And the Roman government is the government today. That's what it is. And voting.
So, what? All right. Voting, I think this is a little bit of an. I got to move on to some other calls, but let me just ask you this.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to find out where you're coming from. Do you evangelize?
Yes, I do.
How?
That's what I do with my life.
How?
I try to share with people what God has showed me and what I believe to be is true. And I find most people, their ears are hardened. Their heart is hardened. They don't want to hear it.
Okay. Thanks, Lucas.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. 776-5368 is the number. 776-536. Maybe you'd like to join the conversation. And if you got any thoughts or comments, got a few moments left, or maybe what's going on with the Medford school strike, if you have any comments on that. Anyway, a little bit of an open line. The local number is 776-5368, and then the toll-free number is 1-800-373-5368. Both these calls kind of spark something, and I just want to comment on a little bit. First of all, let me say this about the school strike. I've received a lot of emails from both sides, and it's amazing what's happening. And I'm receiving emails primarily from Christians on both sides. And the problem that I'm sensing is this growing deep-seated anger and frustration. And I would hope that there could be genuine exercise of peace and getting along. I have to tell you, some of the tone of what I'm getting is not healthy. And I would hope that we could agree to disagree agreeably without being personal and nasty. So let's pray that this thing stays calmed down. And on Lucas's call, it's a little disturbing to me because, folks, we got a lot of problems. But God put us here in America with the best system on earth, and it works if we get involved. That's all I'm going to say. Let's go on to, I'm going to run out of time here. Ken, quickly go.
Very quickly, the last caller violated one of the basic rules of our political system. If you don't vote, you don't have the right to bitch.
Well, I was kind of leading there, but I was hoping he could draw his own conclusion.
I can say things you can't.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Ken. Let me squeeze in Sandy. Sandy, go ahead, quickly.
Hi, just go out and do something.
Well,
Go help a candidate. Find somebody who's running and give them time and money and prayer. And pray for Dr. Robinson. He's at the top of the party at the state of Oregon. He needs it.
Yeah, I've sat in that seat for a couple of years. I know that one.
You know how to...
Yeah. All right, thanks, Sandy.
Okay.
Bye. Is it Satilia? Am I saying that right? Is it Satilia? Are you there?
Satilia, yes, sir.
Okay, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Great, nice to hear your voice again. What's up?
Hey, I just wanted to respond to the last caller, not the lady, but Lucas.
Right.
Yes. I'm from a different country, and when he mentioned liberty and justice for all, in the history of the world, I don't think any other country has done more for the world when it comes to justice rather than America.
Amen. Hurry up, Lucas. I got 30 seconds.
Yes. What I'm saying is, listen, if you're listening, I want to encourage you, bro. Voting and believing the system that you have here in America is the best system ever.
Amen.
The reason why people are flooding this country is because of that system. I just wanted to say that. And God bless you. I want to encourage you to look a little deeper than the problem that you see in the political world here.
Thank you, brother. God bless you. Call in sooner next time. All right, we got to go. We'll see you on Monday.